He Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 17, the divisions of faith, text 2. śrī-bhagavān uvāca.
śrī-bhagavān uvāca.
tri-vidhā.
tri-vidhā.
bhavati. śraddhā. dehināṁ. sva-bhāva-jā. sāttvikī. rājasī. caiva. tāmasī. ceti. tāṁ. śṛṇu. śrī-bhagavān uvāca. tri-vidhā bhavati śraddhā. dehināṁ sva-bhāva-jā. sāttvikī rājasī caiva. tāmasī ceti tāṁ śṛṇu. śrī-bhagavān uvāca.
śrī-bhagavān uvāca.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, tri-vidhā,
tri-vidhā,
of three kinds.
three kinds.
Bhavati becomes śraddhā, the faith. Dehināṁ,
Dehinām.
of the embodied. Sa, that.
He.
Svabhāva-jā, according to his mode of material nature. Sāttvikī,
Sāttvikī.
in the mode of goodness. Rājasī,
Rājasī.
in the mode of passion. Cha, also.
Anche.
Eva, certainly.
Certamente.
Tāmasī,
Tāmasī.
in the mode of ignorance. Cha, and. Iti, thus.
Così.
Tam, that. śṛṇu, hear from me. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be three kinds: in ignorance, in passion, in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance. Now hear about this. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Those who know the rules and regulations of the scriptures, but out of laziness or indolence, give up following these rules and regulations, are governed by the modes of material nature. According to their previous activities in the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance, they acquire a nature which is specific quality. The association of the living entity with the different modes of nature has been going on perpetually. Since the living entity is in contact with the material nature, he acquires different types of mentality according to his association with the material modes. But this nature can be changed if one associates with a bona fide spiritual master and abides by his rules and the scriptures. gradually one can change his position from ignorance to goodness or from passion to goodness. The conclusion is that blind faith in a particular mode of nature cannot help a person become elevated to the perfectional stage. One has to consider things carefully with intelligence in the association of a bona fide spiritual master. Thus one can change his position to a higher mode of nature. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Namaste Saraswati Devi Nirvishesha.
Yeah.
So, Arjuna asked Krishna in the previous verse. Arjuna asked Krishna, "O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principles of scripture, worship according to their own imagination? In goodness?" So we see people develop different kinds of worship, spiritual involvement, without scriptural guidance. We see from time to time develop different types of so-called spiritual activity. Now we are seeing all over the world, yoga has become very popular. Now if we look at it, this yoga, the way it's going on, is not the scriptural instruction. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentioned about how to practice. Like first consideration, one has to go to a secluded place. And there he has to undergo all kinds of rules and regulations. But what is going on in the name of yoga is nothing near. In big cities, in the middle of the city, where there are so many noise, and they are coming after their office to sit and practice. Most really, right after yoga practice, they are going to a bar to drink alcohol. So these are the activities. Those so-called spiritualists, the impersonalists, Mayavadis, they think that they are actively involved in spiritual activity. That is not the scriptural way. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is clearly saying, Abhyaktahi gati. Impersonalism only leads to suffering. Krishna didn't prescribe these activities. So these are shastra vidhi mutrija. Rejecting the scriptural injunctions, they are developing some concocted ideas and they are practicing. So there are various types of activities like that go on. So in response to that answer, in response to that question, Krishna is answering that there are three types of modes. And when they develop this kind of concocted ideas, they practice it according to their modes. And those activities generally lead to suffering. That Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita that those who are in the mode of passion and ignorance, tada rajastamo bhava kama lobha dayascha. The low mode of ignorance and passion leads to lust, greed, anger, etc. Krishna, sorry, not Bhagavad, Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is the condition of the living entities in the material nature. Material nature has been endowed with three modes. Daivi hesha gunamayi. Daivi maya, this material nature, Krishna's external energy, Maya, Mahamaya, is endowed with gunamayi, gunas. And there are three gunas, three modes.
Energy.
And material nature is endowed with three modes, and living entities in the material nature function in those three modes.
Yes.
According to the modes, people act. A person who is influenced by the mode of ignorance, he'll act in a certain way. One who is in the mode of passion, he'll act in some other way. And one who is in the mode of goodness, he'll act in another way. So this is how different people, being influenced by different modes, act in different ways. Actually, that is the condition of every living entity in the material. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarva. Prakrite, in the material nature, every living entity is subjected to guna and karma. This is how things are happening in the material. Different people are acting in different modes, and accordingly they're generating the reactions. And they're getting the results of their actions. Because everybody is subjected to the reactions of his action. So, uddham gacchanti sattastha. Those who are acting in the mode of goodness, they get urdham, they go to higher situation. Madhye tishtati rājasā. Those who are in the mode of passion, they situate in the middle. Jaganna guna vrittisa adho gacchanti tāmasā. Those who are affected by disgusting influence of the mode of ignorance, they go down. So that's what is happening in the material. Example of the modes of material nature, how people become affected by the modes. Say, a person is crossing the road, and all of a sudden a bicycle comes and hits him. So being hit, one person will start to cry. Oh, he hit me, starts to cry. Now another person, when he is hit by the cycle, he gets up, starts to beat up the cyclist. And another person, hit by the cycle, he just gets up, brushes the dust. He says, don't worry, it's my fault. So the one who being hit by the cycle started to cry, he is in the mode of ignorance. The person who got up and started to beat up the cyclist is in the mode of passion. And the person who just told the cyclist, don't worry, it's not your fault. I should have checked before you came. In which mode he is? Goodness. So this is how we see, this is just an example. The same action makes different people react in different ways. Right? How those actions differ? Because of the influence of different modes in them. Why do people act in different ways? Because of the influence of different modes. So this is how living entities in the material nature are affected by the modes. They act in different modes and they get different reactions. Now generally, everyone cycles between passion and ignorance. For example, a person works very hard throughout the day. In which mode he works so hard? Very good.
Sure.
Passion. And then at night he becomes tired and falls asleep. In which mode did he fall asleep? Did I hear goodness?
Ignorance.
In which mode did he fall asleep? Ignorance. Then in the morning he gets up. What does he do? Again goes to work hard. So generally it is going on. This passion, ignorance, passion, ignorance, passion. But those who are situated in knowledge, they transcend the mode of passion and come to the mode. But in the material nature there is no pure goodness. Material goodness is tinged with passion and ignorance. So here Krishna is pointing out, to be properly situated in goodness, that means to be properly situated in pure goodness, one needs the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. Yeah, what does the bona fide spiritual master tell? act in Krishna consciousness. Meaning, act for Krishna. Meaning, lead your life with Krishna in the center. So when one does that, he becomes situated in goodness. And then only he transcends the mode of passion and ignorance. So this actually takes us to another consideration, that we can function in two different platforms. What are these two different platforms? Bodily platform or Krishna. When I put myself in the center, that is material. When I put Krishna in the center, spiritual. So this way we can see what's the distance between material nature and spiritual nature. What's the distance? Very good. Me.
Io e Krishna.
If it's me, it's material. If it's Krishna, it's spiritual. So this is what Krishna is telling us. This is what a bona fide spiritual master teaches us. The bona fide spiritual master shows the way to lead the life, Krishna in the center. Otherwise, we'll be dwelling in the material nature, being subjected to mode of passion and evil. And there is some goodness, but those goodnesses are also affected by passion and evil. Say, for example, in the mode of goodness, one leaves home, goes to Himalayas, and spends time there. But for how long does he last there? Then they come back and start their business. Like it's happening, so many so-called Babas and so-called this, that. They're doing their business. Or at the most, they come down, open some hospital, or do some other benevolent social activity. On the other hand, when Prabhupada came, what did he do? Actually, when Prabhupada went to America, at that time many Babas and Yogis and Bhagavans went to America also. And they all were actually starting their own business. They went and got some money, started something, but did not really benefit people. They were simply giving them how to lead a better bodily existence. They were showing yoga, meditation, transcendental meditation, this meditation, that meditation. But that was all to promote their physical well-being. You practice meditation, you will have a healthy body. Practice meditation, you'll have a peace of mind. Nowadays it's a very common thing. Practice meditation to become free from anxiety, stress. But when Prabhupada came, what did he say? Did Prabhupada ever say that you'll have this practice, chant Hare Krishna and you'll have a healthy body? Did Prabhupada come and say, chant Hare Krishna and you'll have a peace of mind? No. Prabhupada said, chant Hare Krishna, render devotional service for your spiritual well-being. Get out of this miserable material world, material existence, and go back to Godhead. And what was Prabhupada's response to all these kinds of, whenever people came, what did Prabhupada say? Do it for Krishna. Some communists came and asked Prabhupada, what do you think of communism? Prabhupada said, if it is Krishna-centered, it's good. So that is the difference between a bona fide spiritual master and a nonsense spiritual master. A bona fide spiritual master pulls us out of these clutches of Maya in pure spiritual platform. The point Prabhupada is making here, that unless and until one comes until one comes across a bona fide spiritual master and accepts his teachings, there is no way one can get out of this influence of the modes of material nature. One verse from Bhagavad Gita actually making this point very clearly. Daivi hesha gunamai mama maya durattaya. Mama maya. It's my illusory energy.
la mia energia illusoria.
And durattaya, it's impossible to get out. But what's the next line? Mame vaje prapaddante mayame tantaranti. It's impossible to surmount, but when one surrenders unto me, he becomes free from the influence of mind. Like it's impossible to swim across an ocean, but when you sit in a plane, very easily you go across the ocean. In one way it's impossible, but in another way, there is a way which is very easy. So that is Krishna consciousness. Just surrender unto Krishna. What does the bona fide spiritual master say? Surrender unto Krishna.
Abbandonati a Krishna.
Chant Hare Krishna.
Canta Hare Krishna.
Render devotional service.
Offri servizio devozionale.
And everything will be all right. And everything becomes all right. Thank you all very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande.
Haribo.
Does anybody have any question? Yes, Dev.
Da anni c'erano due punti della Bhagavad Gita che mi hanno lasciato perplesso.
2 points of Bhagavad Gita make me perplexed.
La Prabhupada alla fine del 12° capitolo, non sbaglio, e adesso leggendo anche il 13° al verso 20, dice che anche se un discepolo che ha fede in Krishna, nel maestro spirituale, non segue.
At the end of the 12th chapter and the 20th verse of the 13th chapter, Srila Prabhupada said that a devotee who has faith and performs devotional service,
ha fede in Krishna ed è in una comunità religiosa autentica,
and he is in a authentic religious community,
e non riesce a seguire i principi regolatori,
and he is not able to follow the 4 regulative principles,
grazie alla misericordia del maestro spirituale fa comunque avanzamento spirituale.
Due to the mercy of the spiritual master, he nonetheless does spiritual advancement.
Questa è una cosa che...
Anyway, don't depend upon that. Just you follow the 4 regulative principles. Prabhupada made the condition very clear. Chant 16 round and follow the 4 regulative. And then Prabhupada said he'll go back to Godhead. Breaking the regulative principles, don't take a chance. Any other question? Yeah, you can say it. He can hear you.
Like you mentioned how we function different kinds of gunas. So when these devotees, same kind of service may be executed in a different manner by different devotees. Is it because they bring those kind of modes along with them?
There are 2 considerations here. Is a spiritual life, devotional life, is to function according to the instruction of the spiritual master. One doesn't himself decide how he is going to render the service. If one renders service according to his own plan or own desire and offers the results to Krishna, that is karma yoga. But bhakti or devotional service is rendering service according to the instruction of the spiritual master. And the spiritual master knows how to engage one. If somebody is in the mode of passion, okay, spiritual master engages him in service according to that. Like for example, when Prabhupada saw that some devotees are in the mode of passion, Prabhupada sent them out and do this, do that, go and open centers. But when Prabhupada saw that somebody is in the mode of goodness, Prabhupada said, okay, you translate books or work in BBT. So this is how a bona fide spiritual master knows how to engage his disciple. So that is the main consideration. And it can be the other way also. Like provided he is doing it with Krishna in the center. Then it becomes devotional service. Like as I mentioned, like that's the difference between karma yoga and Suddha Bhakti. Somebody thinks that I want to make a lot of money. I want to build a big temple. I want to go and conquer the whole country. And this is, you see, like when he is thinking that I want to do this, but I want to do it for Krishna, meaning he's offering the results of his action to Krishna, that is karma yoga. Whereas when one acts according to the instruction of bona fide spiritual master, then it is devotion, pure devotion. He surrenders his own desires. He wants to go and make a lot of money. But the spiritual master says, you go to the kitchen and wash the pots. See the difference?
Vedi la differenza?
Hare Krishna. Yes, you have a question at the back?
In the same context, I was wondering if you can give us an example of how it would look like if a Kshatriya acts in Krishna consciousness, or a Vaishya acts in Krishna consciousness, or a Shudra acts in Krishna consciousness. Can you give us an example shortly?
Kshatriya acting in Krishna consciousness, Arjuna. He says, I don't want to fight. Krishna says, fight. Now Arjuna says, Karishya Vachanam Tav. I will act according to your instruction. So that is Kshatriya acting in Krishna consciousness. Vaishya acting in Krishna consciousness, Nanda Maharaj. Vaishya's occupation, Krishi, Goraksha, Vanijya. Agriculture, cow protection, and trading. And they're doing it. And in ignorance, I don't like, ignorance is, in order to be Krishna conscious, you have to come out of ignorance. You can't remain in ignorance and be Krishna conscious. So, but still there are Sudras, like as you have said, how Sudra? Actually in Krishna consciousness, everyone is a Sudra. Meaning serving Krishna, the devotees.
Servono I devoti.
Serving the mission of the spiritual master. So in spiritual platform, in devotional service, Sudra's position is the highest. Yeah. To become the humble servant of the servant of the servant. But that's not in ignorance. That's in pure goodness. So our business is actually to become Shudras, transcendental Sudras. Any other? Yes?
Qualche volta parlando con i devoti dico, sai, io sono Sudra. I devoti dicono, ma no, siamo tutti Sudra. In Kali Yuga, Kalo Sudra, sva-bhāva-jā.
Sometimes speaking with devotees, I tell them I'm a Shudra, and they say, no, don't worry, we are all Shudras, Kalo Shudra sva-bhāva-jā.
Yeah. But that is ordinary Sudra. But in ISKCON, they're transcendental Sudras.
Hearing a lecture from Madhusavita Prabhu, he was saying that we are all Shudras, but we nonetheless have tendencies like leader or Vaishya or anything. So, but for myself, I see that I have the tendency of Shudra, so what to do?
Okay. What Madhusavita Prabhu actually said, that in ISKCON, they are Sudra Brahmana, Sudra Kshatriya, Sudra Vaishya, and Sudra Sudra.
You mentioned that a bona fide spiritual master makes his disciples surrender to Krishna. And in this respect, I have a question that sometimes we hear preachers speaking about Vedic culture and Vedic rules and regulations, and they demand people to surrender to all specific details of Vedic culture. And my question is, because sometimes I don't hear these points in Prabhupada's books, do we have to I mean, we maybe should try to follow, but is it always conducive?
Give an example of what you're talking about.
An example.
Like, for example, in Vedic culture, women and men are very much separate. So that we have
nella
to.
cultura vedica gli uomini e le donne sono separati.
So and then we should follow this very rigidly, that we don't speak to women if it's not our wife.
Well, like we can see that with time, the world situation changes, the social situation changes. In the Vedic time, the women never come out of the house. But today, women are everywhere. Therefore, Prabhupada saw, I'll just get Prabhupada's point of view. Like, Prabhupada was very practical. Prabhupada himself said, like, I came to America where boys and girls are striding side by side. And if I separate them, then it will be artificial. Therefore, in ISKCON, men and women are serving side by side. So, like, but at the same time, the Vedic principle, that is, women shouldn't be seen as an object of sense gratification. They should be respected as mothers. We take that aspect of the Vedic culture. We function according to the present social system. And yeah, I mean, world situation is changing and we have to act accordingly. In Vedic time, no one will use microphone, never heard of microphone. And if you go to the strict Vedic consideration, Indians, sadhus or spiritual personalities are not supposed to go out of India at all. Going across the ocean was unheard of. But today, world has changed. And accordingly, ISKCON is functioning. So the thing is that, like, again, a bona fide spiritual master knows how to engage everyone. And that's what Prabhupada did. Now if somebody says, let's go back to the Vedic time, the women should stay at home and never come out, then some orthodox Indian may join ISKCON, but the rest of the world won't. Like, even from Prabhupada's time, things have changed. Like during Prabhupada's time, we could never think of a woman GBC, woman temple president, woman Sankirtan leader. I remember, like, how things were. Women were not even leading Kirtan those days. And it was, I'm talking about in late 80s. I was involved in Holland, and so one day the devotees went out on a Sankirtan, on a Harinam, and some girls went, but they couldn't find that team of devotees. So they were there, 4 or 5 of them. So what did they do? They laid a Kirtan, Harinam on their sheet. And it was one of the unusual things.
Era una cosa inusuale.
The women led their women's Sankirtan party. I mean, rather, Harinam party. I remember in 77, Prabhupada was in Vrindavan, and I was staying in the guest house in Vrindavan. And one day I heard some Mataji's devotees are leading a kirtan from downstairs. I mean, they were staying in their room and they are having the kirtan. And I was thinking, oh, they sing so well. Because those days, women didn't sing in the kirtan. But with time, things are changing and we are accepting those changes.
I just have one more small question. The other day you sang...
Oh, that reminds me of another thing, another incident. One day, Prabhupada's sister, and she wanted to sing a bhajan for Prabhupada. So, she sang very nicely.
Cantò molto bene.
So, we were just saying, oh, sing. She sings so nice. They have a sweet voice.
Very much the other day you spoke about Sharanagati. You sang the song Bhakti Thakur, and two of those aspects are accepting everything which is favorable for pure devotional service and reject. So how can we decide, because then some people say, yeah, this would be favorable, you have to follow this and it is favorable for pure devotional service, but how can we decide that it's actually disturbing also the social?
Well, there are two considerations. Two considerations, as I say, the first thing is, let your spiritual master or other senior devotees decide. And second consideration is, use your intelligence. You may think that something is favorable, but like if it's going to create disturbance, then don't consider that to be favorable. Say, for example, you may think that in the middle of the night, to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra very loudly is very favorable to Krishna consciousness.
Per esempio, potresti pensare che cantare Hare Krishna nel bel mezzo della notte ad alta...
But when you consider that he's going to wake up all other devotees, then it may not be a favorable situation.
Ma se consideri che questo sveglierà tutti gli altri devoti, allora comprendi che non è una cosa favorevole.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes, there is a question there.
Can I ask a question out of today's context? Is it possible?
Let me hear.
Okay. So I was wondering, I read a few books, not too many, but there's a lot of stress on being a brahmachari. And I was looking at the larger picture. And I was thinking, if all intelligent men take up to brahmacharya, who are the girls going to get married? That's no, that's not the question. The question is, will it not create an imbalance in the demographics of the society? And the second part of the question is...
Let me first answer the first question.
Okay.
Can I translate?
Yeah, please.
Ho letto alcuni libri in cui veniva detto che tutti dovrebbero diventare brahmachari, gli uomini, e quindi mi chiedo, se tutti diventano brahmachari, le donne come fanno a sposarsi, e quindi ci sarebbe uno squilibrio nella società.
So the first aspect of the answer is, Prabhupada said, I have a problem that I haven't been able to solve.
La prima parte è da considerare che Prabhupada ha detto, io ho un problema che non riesco a risolvere.
I want all my boys to be brahmacharis.
Vorrei che tutti i miei ragazzi fossero brahmachari.
And I want all my girls to get married.
E vorrei che tutte le ragazze fossero sposate.
So that's the first aspect of the answer to that question.
Questo è il primo aspetto della risposta.
And from my own experience I can tell you, don't worry about that. There will be plenty of brahmacharis who will want to get married.
E dalla mia esperienza personale posso dirti con sicurezza di non preoccuparti, perché ci saranno sempre tanti brahmachari che vogliono sposarsi.
Okay, what's your second part? If you
Okay. The second part is again the same context, but I was thinking, what about the progeny? Because
what about?
About the children. So, for example, if all intelligent men are brahmachari and they decide...
I told you, all intelligent men won't remain brahmachari.
Okay, most of them, for example, if I take your example, an intelligent person like you, if they don't have children, the DNA, your intelligent DNA is not getting forward. Is not. So the next generation.
Don't worry. I have plenty of children.
Mata ci chiedeva, sempre nello stesso contesto, se almeno la maggior parte dei brahmachari rimangono tali, allora il DNA che non si svilupperebbe nei loro figli. E Maharaj ha risposto: non ti preoccupare, io ho un sacco di figli.
And I can tell you, that's the real intelligent thing to do. Have a lot of children without getting married.
E ti dirò che questa è la cosa intelligente da fare, avere tanti bambini senza sposare.
Okay. Maybe we can have a little kirtan.
Possiamo fare un kirtan? His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj ki Jai!